The twin suns burned hot above the red sand of Carith Prime. A large crowd gathered in the ancient trial arena, built from black stone and lined with glowing symbols of judgment. Alien faces, sharp and cold, stared down at the center of the circle, where a single young girl stood alone. Her name was Lyra. She was only 18 cycles old. But today, she would face the purity trial, a test every female of her race had to pass. The test was not of strength, but of something much crueler. It was about control, tradition, and obedience. Lyra's violet skin shimmered with sweat. Her long silver hair was tied back, her wrists bound loosely in front of her. She wore a plain, white tunic, now stained with dust. She didn't speak. She didn't cry. She stood still, even as fear crawled under her skin. The High Elder stepped forward, his long robe dragging through the sand. His voice echoed through a speaker crystal on his shoulder. "Let the purity trial begin," he announced. The crowd fell silent. Everyone watched from behind the stone gate. A floating orb appeared. It pulsed with blue energy and moved slowly around Lyra. It was called the Verifier. It scanned the mind and body, searching for signs sign of impurity. Fear, rebellion, desire, free thought. All things forbidden. Lyra closed her eyes. She had trained for this moment her whole life. She had been told to clear her mind, to be still, to think of nothing. But how could she, when her heart pounded so loudly? Suddenly, the Verifier stopped. It hovered above her chest and then flashed red. Gasps spread through the crowd like fire in dry grass. The orb beeped 3 times. Then it retreated into the gate. The High Elder turned slowly, looking at the council. "She has failed," he said coldly. "No," Lyra whispered, almost too quiet to hear. "No, that's not possible." The Elder raised his staff. "By the laws of our ancestors, she is declared impure," he said. "She will face punishment at first light." The crowd began to murmur. Some nodded. Others turned away, uncomfortable. Guards stepped forward and grabbed Lyra by her arms. She struggled, but not much. Her knees hit the sand as they chained her between 2 black poles. The chains clicked tight around her ankles, her waist, her wrists. She was now on display. For all to see, for all to judge. Tears filled her eyes but didn't fall. She wouldn't let them. Not here. Not in front of them. From a distance, a figure watched. He stood just outside the arena walls, dressed in worn armor with a helmet under his arm. A human. His name was Cole. He had seen many trials on many worlds. But something about this one felt different. This wasn't justice. It was cruelty wearing tradition like a mask. Cole stepped closer, his boots crunching against the sand. No one noticed him yet. Back in the center, Lyra looked up. Her eyes scanned the faces around her, hoping for a friend, a voice, anyone. But no one moved. No one helped. The sun sank lower in the sky. Shadows stretched long over the ground. Then the High Elder turned to the crowd one last time. "At dawn," he said, "the fire will judge her soul." And with that, the ceremony ended. The people left slowly, one by one. The guards stayed. The chains held tight, and Lyra remained on her knees, staring at the sand, alone. But Cole didn't leave. He stayed hidden in the shadows, eyes locked on the girl in chains. Something twisted in his chest. Anger. And something else. Determination. He didn't know her name yet, but he had already made a choice. He would not let her face the fire alone. Night fell over Carith Prime like a black curtain, but the arena lights stayed on. Lyra remained chained between the 2 black poles, her body aching from the cold, her spirit shaken. No one came to offer comfort. No one brought food or water. She was a symbol now failure, of shame, of impurity. But she was not alone. Up in the viewing platform behind a screen of dark glass, the elders sat in silence. They watched her, studied her. Ate. The high elder spoke in a low voice. Let her feel the weight of dishonor. Let the people see what happens when one defies the ancient way. Another elder nodded. The fire at dawn will burn the impurity from her salor, leave nothing at all. Across the city, in a small visitor's shelter, Cole sat in the corner of his room, staring at the glowing wall screen. The broadcast replayed the trial again and again. Every time the verifier turned red, every time the crowd gasped, every time Lyra dropped to her knees, Cole couldn't sleep, couldn't look away. He wasn't supposed to care. He was just a human contractor scout hired to map terrain, not interfere in local politics. But that girl, the way she looked around, hoping someone would speak up. It hit something deep inside him. He tapped his cum device. Tureen, he whispered to the AI assistant built into his wrist. Access City Law Archive. Search for the Purity Trial Code. The AI responded. Warning. Accessing sacred legal files is forbidden to off-worlders. Do it anyway, Cole said. A few seconds passed, then text began to scroll across. The small screen, Cole leaned in. His eyes narrowed. What the hell? He muttered. Hidden deep in the code was something strange. A forgotten line in an old subclause. A challenge clause. One that allowed a non-native to question a verdict if the trial was judged unjust. Cole smiled and stood up, back in the arena. The guards heard footsteps echo off the stone. Turned, froze. The human was walking across the sacred sand. His boots kicked up dust. His hands were raised to show no weapons. But his eyes burned with purpose. You don't belong here, human. One guard barked. I have the right to challenge the trial, Cole said calmly. The guards looked at each other in confusion. One ran to the elders. The high elder stormed. Out from the shadows, robes billowing in the wind. You dare walk into this circle? He growled. This is not your world. Cole stood tall. You're right, it's not. But even in your world, there are laws, and you broke one. Section 4.8, To Trial Fairness. I read it. This wasn't a trial. It was a setup. Gasps echoed from the few who stayed behind to watch. You speak of things you don't understand. A high elder snapped. I understand injustice when I see it, Cole replied. This girl was silent. She showed no rebellion. Your scanner judged her without cause. That's not law, that's fear. Lyra raised her head slowly. Her eyes widened. Was this real? A human? Defending her. The high elder's staff slammed. Into the ground. You have no voice here. I do now, Cole said, and held up a data chip. I filed a formal dispute through the Galactic Neutrality Code. Your counsel is now under review. The arena fell silent. Even the guards hesitated. Cole walked to Lyra, the chains still glowing with energy. He didn't touch them. Not yet. But he stood beside her. I may be an outsider, he said, loud enough for all to hear. But I know what honor looks like, and she's got more of it than anyone here. The crowd, watching from behind the gates, began whispering. One elder stepped forward, face pale. We need time to review this challenge. No, Cole said. You've had enough time. At dawn, the fire doesn't come for her. It comes for your system. The suns would rise soon, but this time, Lyra wouldn't be alone. And justice would be tested. The suns had not yet risen, but the city of Careth Prime was wide awake. Whispers spread like wildfire through the glowing streets. Human had challenged the purity trial. Never in living memory had any outsider dared such a thing. Some called it blasphemy, others bravery. But all agreed on one thing. Something had changed. Inside the council's private chambers, the elders paced back and forth, robes dragging like smoke. The High Elder slammed his staff into the floor. "He has humiliated us," he hissed. "Before the people, before the stars." "But the law he used is real," another elder said nervously. "Buried? Yes, but still part of the code. The challenge is legal." The High Elder's eyes burned. "Then we erase him and her. Both." In the cold arena below, Lyra sat silently, in her chains, head tilted toward the stars. She had not spoken since Cole stood beside her. That moment, just a few words, had given her something more powerful than strength. Hope. Then she heard footsteps. Not guards. Not elders. Him Cole returned, calm but alert. Every step full of quiet power. He didn't carry a weapon. His only armor was his voice. "They're angry," he said, kneeling beside her. "They're scared too." "Good." Lyra looked into his eyes. "Why are you really doing this?" she asked softly. Cole gave a small smile. "Because sometimes a law needs to be broken to reveal the truth it was hiding." Suddenly, a loud crack echoed across the arena. The chain poles glowed bright red. Guards appeared from every gate, weapons drawn. From above, the High Elder shouted, "Enough. The trial ends now. The challenge is void. Remove the human." Cole didn't move. "You're breaking your own law again," he said. "No." The Elder roared. "You are the one who doesn't understand our purity. We protect it with fire, with blood, if we must." "I understand more than you think," Cole replied, standing tall. "Purity isn't control. It isn't silence. It's truth. And right now, your truth stinks." One guard stepped forward, weapon shaking. But he didn't fire. He looked at Lyra, then back at the Elder. "Is this justice?" he asked aloud. Another guard lowered his weapon, then another. The High Elder's eyes widened. "Traitors. You would side with him, with her." "We side with what is right," said the first guard, "not what is feared." Lyra's breath caught in her chest, then dash click. The first chain opened. A second. Then all of them, she was free. The High Elder screamed in rage and charged forward with his staff raised. No more mercy. Cole stepped in front of Lyra. But before the blow could land, a shock blast rang through the air. A younger elder had fired a stun weapon. The High Elder fell to his knees, stunned, his staff cracking on the ground. Silence. Then a single cheer. Then more than the crowd erupted. Lyra looked around, dazed. People she had feared now smiled at her. Some bowed. Some simply wept. Cole looked at her. "You still want to know why I saved you?" She nodded. He said softly, "Because sometimes the bravest people don't even know they're brave. Until someone believes in them." As the sun slowly rose, painting the sky gold, the fire meant to destroy her instead lit the path forward, and for the first time in generations, a broken law brought healing, not punishment. The dawn air was cool. But Lyra's heart burned with questions. She had been freed, yes. The chains were gone. The fire never touched her. The people had watched a human walk into their sacred arena and flip their entire system upside down. But none of that made sense to her. Why would someone like him, outsider, a stranger, risk everything for someone like her? Now, inside a quiet shelter far from the arena, Lyra sat across from Cole. They hadn't spoken much since the escape. 2 cups of steaming blue tea sat untouched between them. She watched him with careful eyes. "Why did you do it?" she finally asked. Cole didn't look up right away. He stared into the cup like it held some secret he couldn't say aloud. "I've seen this before," he said after a pause. Not here, but on another world. He leaned back in his chair, voice low. A girl was punished for thinking differently. Just like you. The system called her broken, but she was the one who opened my eyes. I didn't help her in time. Lyra's eyes softened. She died. Cole nodded. They burned her. Silence stretched between them. Lyra stood and walked to the window. The city lights blinked gently beneath the twin suns. "I've never met a human before," she said. "They say your kind is dangerous. Wild, too emotional." Cole chuckled. "They're not wrong. We do stupid things when we care." She turned around slowly. "Then, did you save me because you care?" Cole looked at Hurley, looked not. "Yet," he said honestly. "But I could." Outside the shelter, footsteps approached. A guard knocked once and entered without waiting. He looked young, nervous. "There's something you should know," he whispered. The council didn't fall completely. The High Elder, he survived. Lyra stiffened. "He'll come after us." "No," Cole said, standing up. "He'll come after you. I'm just the excuse." The guard nodded. "He's already moved. There are patrols searching the outer districts. You should leave tonight." Cole glanced at Lyra. "We go together. No debates." She shook her head. "I can't ask you to." "You didn't?" Cole interrupted. "I already decided." Later that night, as they packed supplies, Lyra paused near the door. "You said you didn't care yet," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "But, if we don't make it, I want you to know something." Cole turned. "I wasn't pure," she said. "Not by their rules. I questioned things. I read forbidden books. I asked why we only feared and never forgave. That's why the verifier turned red." He smiled, slow and gentle. "That's not impurity," he said. "That's being alive." In that quiet moment, something stronger than fire passed between them. It wasn't love. Not yet, but it was the beginning of something powerful. A bond not made by blood, but by choice. The fire meant to judge Lyra had died out, but its smoke still lingered in the minds of the people. Across Careth Prime, something was shifting in quiet homes and shadowy alleys. Whispers filled the air. "Did you see what the human did?" He stood in front of the flames and walked away free. The girl lived. Maybe she was never impure. Old thoughts stirred in young minds, and those who had once feared the council started to question them. In the outer districts, a young alien guard named Melko sat with his helmet in his lap. He had been at the trial. He had watched Lyra fall. He had seen Cole walk into the arena without armor and speak like fire. And now, he couldn't forget it. His younger sister approached him quietly. "Brother," she said, "is it true the purity trials are just ... fear in disguise?" Didn't answer right away, but in his heart, he already knew the truth. Back in an abandoned stone hall near the edge of the city, Lyra and Cole met with a small group. A merchant, a teacher, a city cleaner, and Malco. "We're not fighters," said the merchant nervously. "We have families." "You don't need weapons," Cole replied. "You just need to stand." Lyra nodded. "The council rules, because no one says no." Not truly. But now they're afraid because one person did. The teacher leaned in. "And what do you want us to do?" "Nothing violent," Lyra said. "But speak, refuse, break their silence." At that moment, outside the building, a hooded figure moved through the shadows, listening. It was a spy, one still loyal to the High Elder. Meanwhile, in the Grand Tower, the High Elder sat alone, staring into a fire pit. His face was gaunt, angry. Humiliated, he had survived, yes, but the people had seen him fall. That was worse than death. A message arrived, a whisper. The girl and the human are gathering sympathizers. The elder's eyes narrowed. Then we give the people a reminder, he said, of what happens to traitors. That night, smoke rose from the home of the merchant who had met with LYRAA. No one was hurt, but the message was clear. Fear was returning. Cole stood in the alley with his fists clenched. They're hitting back. We knew they would. Lyra said quietly. They always do. He looked at her. You're not afraid. Her eyes were steady. I am, but I won't run. Not again. Across the city, candles were lit in windows, a quiet signal of support. First, a few, then dozens. No shouting, no violence, just small lights. Tiny acts of rebellion. Lyra stood on a rooftop and looked over her. City, they tried to burn me, she whispered, but I came back brighter. Cole smiled beside her. And now you're not the only one. The rebellion didn't start with swords or blood. It began with a girl, to refuse to kneel, and a human who chose to stand beside her. 3 nights had passed since. The fire no longer touched Lyra, but now the fire burned in secret halls. And behind closed doors, the High Elder had not disappeared. He had grown quiet. And quiet was dangerous, in a hidden storage tunnel beneath the city's lower sector. Cole crouched beside a dusty crate and unrolled a hand-drawn map. Around him, Lyra and 3 trusted allies leaned in. There's an old transport bay outside the city wall, Cole said. Shut down after the sandquake. No guards, no cameras. Lyra studied the route. It's not safe. It's not supposed to be, Cole said. That's why they won't expect it. Go. The young guard, who now risked everything too. Help them, looked nervous. I can get you past the first gate. After that, you're on your own. Then that's where we move fast, Cole replied. Lyra nodded. We leave tonight. But outside the tunnel, footsteps echoed in the dark. The hooded spy who had followed them days ago was still watching, far across the city. The High Elder met with a new kind of warrior, silent, masked, without emblems. Not soldiers, assassins, no trial. No arrest, the Elder said coldly. Just silence them, before the city sees them as heroes. Back in the tunnel, Cole finished packing gear into a small bag. This escape isn't just about us, he said. If we vanish, the council will lie. Say we were cowards. We have to leave proof behind. Lyra thought for a moment, then picked up an old recorder crystal. Then we tell the truth before we go. That night, she stood in front of a camera, her voice calm but strong. I was called impure, but I'm still here. I'm not hiding. I questioned, I thought, I felt. And none of that makes me broken. She looked into the lens. And if they come for me again, I'll have to face the light I carry now. The recording was uploaded to the city's public stream-coded, scrambled, and hidden in a song file by morning. Half the city had seen it. By midday, people were already painting her name on walls. Lyra lives, but time was running out at dusk. Lyra, Cole, and Malco crept through the maintenance tunnels beneath the council tower. Following old paths, avoiding patrols, everything was going smoothly until it wasn't. A silent alarm, a red flash, a blast door slammed behind them. They were trapped suddenly. Shadows dropped from the ceiling, 3 masked figures with shock blades drawn. Cole reacted fast. A punch, a sidestep, a hard elbow. Lyra grabbed a metal pipe and swung wildly. She hit one in the side, and he crumpled. Malco screamed as a blade grazed his arm. But he tackled one attacker to the floor. The last assassin lunged toward Lyra, and was shot through the chest. Smoke curled from the barrel of Cole's hidden plasma. Pistol. The tunnel went silent. They ran again, faster now, blood on their clothes. Fear in their breath. At last, they reached the transport bay. Dust covered the controls, but the door opened with a groan. The escape ship waited, silent and cold. Cole looked back once. "You sure?" he asked. Lyra stared at her city, glowing in the distance. "No," she said, "but we've come too far to stop now." They stepped inside. The engines hummed to life. Above them, the sky cracked with thunder. A storm, but something coming, and the elder, in his chamber, watched their ship rise through the clouds. "Let them run," he whispered, "because I will be waiting at the end." The stars stretched wide and silent as the small escape ship drifted beyond Carith Prime's orbit. Inside, the engines cooled and the lights dimmed to soft blue. Cole stood near the window, watching the planet slowly shrink behind them. It no longer looked cruel, just distant. Lyra sat on the floor beside a supply crate, her back against the wall. A blanket draped over her shoulders, and for the first time in many days, her face looked calm. But peace felt strange. She had survived what should have destroyed her. She had escaped chains, judgment, and flames. And yet, now that the fight was over, she didn't know who she was anymore. Cole walked over and sat beside her. Neither spoke for a long time. Then she whispered, "I don't know what comes next." "Neither do I," he said honestly. She looked at him. "K back home. I was told humans always want something. Power, control, glory." "And what do you think I wanted?" Cole asked. Lyra thought carefully. "To be forgiven." He nodded once. "That's not far off." Later, Malco came from the cockpit, still holding his bandaged arm. "I set the ship to autopilot," he said. "We'll reach the neutral zone in 3 days. Any word from the surface?" Cole asked. Malco grinned. The people didn't forget. More protests. Songs about the girl who faced the flame. They're calling her the Spark. Lyra's eyes widened. The Spark. "You lit something, Lyra," Malco said. "It won't go out now. Even if they bury it, it'll rise again." That night, as they floated in deep space, Lyra stepped outside into the open viewing deck. The stars above were endless, and yet, for the first time in her life, she didn't feel small beneath them. She felt limitless. She reached into her pocket and pulled out the small crystal recording device, the one they used before the escape. She activated it again and recorded a new message. "My name is Lyra of Carith Prime. I was told I was impure, that my thoughts, my doubts, my hopes made me broken. But I know better now. I am not broken. I am whole." She looked up at the stars. "And I am not alone." She ended the recording and sent it out into the galactic net, where no walls could stop it. The message would find others, girls like her, outsiders, dreamers, doubters. It would remind them that sometimes one spark is all it takes. Inside, Cole sat near the window, watching her. He didn't need her to say thank you. Her survival was thanks enough, but as she walked back in and sat beside him, shoulder to shoulder, she whispered, "You changed everything." He shook his head. "No, you did." As the ship carried them toward the unknown, Lyra finally understood what a new beginning really meant. Not a place, not a safe room, but a choice. A choice to become the future they once feared. And so it began, not with fire this time, but with hope.